jump to her.
So let's start with the 1M, 1A.
Let's actually have a little bit of a guessing game. We have 2 or 3 cues on this film that we're gonna have a little bit of a guessing game. And so part of that's maybe a teaching thing, but also part of this is to appreciate the wonderful work that Tim did with the score. So let's just watch that little bit of the opening there. Any guesses as to how much of that was improvised or scored, especially maybe knowing James Horner as you do and knowing Branford Marsalis as you do? And I guess the reason for that is Branford Marsalis is the featured musician on the score, and we're going to talk about his role in the film all day long. Rolando, I think it's interesting to think about this as a starting sound. We're getting the enigmatic puzzle thing, but it sets up play and almost an improvised feel from the very beginning.
I think it's a great way to start the movie. Branford Marsalis is on the title card with the music. I mean, James Horner featuring Branford Marsalis is right there on the main title card. It's not here, but later when the titles come up. So it's important that he gets front and center attention first thing. That's it.
And kind of following the Goldsmith model of just having a unique sound at the beginning of the film. You know what I mean? And maybe we can talk more later about the role of Branford and the fact that there's a little bit of a bookends thing. So now we're going to see what. Let's look at the score. We'll look at what Tim did, and then have maybe Tim speak about what your process was for this thing.
This is completely transcribed. I don't know exactly the details of the recording session, but I would imagine it went something like James gave Branford the basic theme and said, you have so many seconds to improvise on this theme and do your thing. Yeah. To put a little bit of perspective, around that time, sometime around 88, 89 is when Wynton Marsalis started getting more or less mainstream exposure, and then his younger brother Branford Marsalis around 90, 91, 92 was really hot on the scene, and he was the leader of the Tonight Show band with Jay Leno. I don't remember the dates, but it was sometime around that time, so I don't know the specifics of it, but I would imagine it had something to do with trying to capture that market by having a featured soloist with Branford Marsalis. So this part of the movie was improvised, and actually at the very end, what Chris was saying, the end bookend, the last few measures of the end credit are also improvised, and it was just something I had to transcribe so that I could include every single note that was included on the soundtrack in the book.
And yet, it really does lay out some themes. We'll have names for these themes, and that's also part of the analysis, the wonderful analysis that Tim did in the book, and the score. But it really does lay it all out. And yet, when you think about our roles as composers, as far as casting, casting sounds, casting vibes, what we're going to hear today, and this is what, I don't want to give away too much of it, is that, there is jazz phrasing throughout the score, but the notes are very clear and the role are very clear. This is the one moment that feels improvised, that feels fun, that sets up this idea of play. And the rest of Branford's role in the score is a little bit different. And that's something we'll talk about for the rest of today.